Welcome to the AgapHEY podcast. I'm Beck, a passionate, sold-out lover of Jesus who accidentally started a Christian singles ministry, and now I want to help as many people as possible to find their husband or wife while being super healthy and full of hope. So get ready for some real, raw talk about all things singleness and dating. Hello, are we live? I do not know. Oh, here we are. There we go. Now we're going live.
Okay.
It has started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AgapHEY podcast. We are doing a live session. If you happen to catch the very beginning of this, you probably saw me trying to set it up to go live on Facebook because we're just making it up as we go, apparently. So today I am joined by the amazing Joshua Cruz. And he, guys, for those of you who don't know Josh Cruz, he's incredible. He's a Reading local at the moment, soon not to be, which is very exciting. Yeah. He is actually going to the other side of the country to be a part of a church plant. But Josh and I met last year in December, and he became my mentor with AgapHEY. Yeah, it's been almost a year. And so he is going to grill me a little bit today about AgapHEY in the nicest possible way and ask me all the questions I didn't really even think to go through because he was thinking, maybe you guys actually want to know about how things came about. So before we get into that, I do want to share, guys, tomorrow night is the absolute last time we're going to be offering our one-time offer. Everything closes at midnight PST time, Monday night, the 29th of November, 2021. Our Black Friday sale will be over. And so it's $99 and you get access for the entirety of your singleness. However long you have your membership, you will have access to the AgapHEY platform. So as it continues to improve, we have more and more members. You literally have locked in that price and locked in all of the features that come with that. So don't forget, if you are wanting to sign up, do it now because we literally are closing the doors tomorrow night or when we reach 200 people and we're getting closer and closer to that number. So just want to put that out there so you're all aware because I don't want people messaging me at 3 minutes past midnight being like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I forgot, because it's going to be over. So just want to put that out there. But yeah, other than that, I'm going to turn it over to Josh because he's kind of running the show today.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually really pumped to do this because not a lot of people know the actual story of what's behind the scenes, what's been going on. And it seems like a lot of people are kind of questioning, where's AgapHEY? When are you going to finally get to this? When's this finally happening? Yeah. And so, but it's actually you have no idea all the things, but also for the people that are newer to the platform and they want to hear your story, they want to hear what's the vision behind this thing? Is it just another dating app? Is it Tinder for Christians? What is this? Yeah.
Oh gosh, I heard.
Yeah, I hope not too. But so I thought some of the background and some of the story would be fun. So I think let's take it back to the beginning, right where this thing first started, and let's start. You ended up in Redding, California. Talk to us. How did you end up here? Why'd you come? And because obviously your accent kind of gives away you're probably not from Redding, California. Where are you from? And then talk us through how you got here.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I'm from the Gold Coast, Australia, and I did a school of ministry in Toronto in 2016. So I did Catch the Fire for the entire year. And then I went back to Australia and really just lacked purpose, to be honest. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a nurse by profession and kind of just doing the grind day in, day out. I didn't really feel like my life had purpose. I didn't really have meaning and something to really go after. And so in 2019, I was thinking maybe I should do BSSM, and the doors just hadn't really opened, and I was kind of tossing out. When I say BSSM, that's Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry. And then I had some friends who I'd been in Toronto with who actually were doing their first year together at BSSM in 2019. And they invited me to their wedding. So she had actually been my roommate in Toronto, and so they were getting married here. So I got to come and experience. I was here for 5 days and just experienced Reading. And I was still tossing up should I go, should I not? And after 5 days, I'm moving to America. This was, I think this was May This was May of 2019, and I told my whole
Okay.
family when I got home, by the way, I'm moving to America in August. I haven't been accepted yet. I don't have my visa. I don't know how I'm going to afford it, but I'm going. So just so you know,
Wow.
I'm not going to be around. And everything just came together. It was incredibly supernatural. God just completely provided. I think I finally had my interview with BSSM and got accepted in like June, and I had to be there in August, and I'm in another country, so I
Wow.
had to like pack up my house. Like we had to get rid of our lease. Like everything kind of had to happen. I had to fly down to Sydney to get my visa, and I called them, and they gave me it. Like I was going to wait 6 weeks, but they gave me like one at the end of June, which was really awesome. So then I quickly went to Melbourne, saw some friends and family because I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be seeing you guys for a while. And then did a visa run, sold my, well, actually I didn't sell anything. I sold my car. That was it. My mum sold it actually after I left. But other than that, I just put everything into boxes, boxed up my
Hmm.
life, chucked things out, packed my bags, and came with a suitcase. Actually, I came with
Wow.
two. I was like, I need to have my stuffs. And so
Yeah.
I found myself living in Redding, California, in the middle of the heat because it came, end of August. It was still pretty hot,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, and I was like, well, this is a different kind of weather.
Yeah.
But I actually really enjoy it. I actually really love it. My husband struggles, but I like it.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's how I came to live here. And so I went through first year, I went through second year, got married in second year, but I know we're going to go probably more into that.
Sure.
And now I'm in third year.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. So a couple years here. And so when you were here, you saw this kind of, if I remember your story correctly, you kind of saw this need for to connect single people, and like walk us through, what did you see? What was going on in your head when you decided, all right, let me get this thing off?
Yeah, so I'm sorry if you see me looking at my phone. I'm just checking to see if anyone's commenting. So when I came to BSSM, I come from Australia, right? So in my hometown, I'm like, I felt like it was really slim pickings. Like, where are all the single people that actually love Jesus? And I was there for 3 years, and I was like super, super on fire. And
Yeah.
I think maybe in that time I met like 2 people that I would say also were.
Mhm.
2 guys, single guys. So I was like, this is really rough. I had some of those same like ungodly beliefs of like, how's this, and fear, partnering with fear, how's this ever going to happen for me? Like, there's no one around. And so when I came to America and I came to Reading, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a smorgasbord of people. Like, oh my gosh, look how many people there are. Like, it's like ripe for the picking. There's godly people everywhere I look, and why aren't they getting married? So
Yeah.
I literally just couldn't believe it. Honestly, I thought, oh my goodness, people need to get together. So it was November of 2019. I thought, I'm gonna have like a singles event. Like, why not? We'll just do like a speed dating event. You know what? But again, it was like the kind of the start of school. A lot of people didn't we didn't really know each other. I wasn't like known in the first year environment. And it was also really close to Christmas. So it kind of fell a little flat, and we just decided, it's not really going to work out. So we just didn't do it. Anyway, and then COVID hit, and it was March of 2020. And one of my friends said, hey, why don't you just do an online speed dating event since, everyone's in quarantine now. And I never thought of that. And I said, actually, you know what? I really like that idea. Let's do it. So he did the tech, and I was the host. And we had 75 people come to our first event.
Oh.
And it was pretty much even numbers, girls and guys. And so I was like, this is really cool.
Mhm.
And it just kept going. And so by that time, I was already in a relationship. I was dating someone, but we'd been dating for like 4 months, and we were getting kind of more serious. It's not my husband now. But yeah, so me and that guy were getting kind of serious, and I was just like, oh my gosh, being in a relationship is so much fun. I love this. Like, I just want to help other people do it. So
Sure.
we started doing more and more. And then eventually, we had to start our own group so we could advertise events, because I didn't want to be spamming all these other groups. And then the group just grew to like over 1,000 people very quickly from my school of ministry.
Crazy.
And then they're asking, like, can other people who haven't been at this school, because it was a specific school of ministry page for singles,
Right.
Can people who haven't been in the school of ministry join too? And I was like, well, we want to keep the culture and the integrity of the group, so let's create it. And then I just thought, well, what am I going to do? Like, a lot of people are saying no, some people are saying yes. Like, it's so divided. And I felt the Lord say, just start a second group. And so started a second group called Revivalist Christian Singles for people who haven't done the ministry school necessarily that I have done, but love Jesus, super on fire, spirit filled. They want to meet somebody else who is as well.
Yeah.
And it's actually through that first ministry school group that I met my now husband, because he was involved. He was enrolled to start school. He actually didn't end up starting, so it's really funny. But one of the administrators of the school said, you should join this singles group. And he was meant to start, and he actually didn't end up doing it, which is actually a really good thing, because I can't imagine, it was in the middle of COVID, he would have been completely online, and he is not technologically inclined at all. He would have struggled. He probably would have just dropped out. He said, I would have just dropped out. So it was totally the right call for him. But we met through that group, and we fell in love, and we got married. So I just really believe in the power of Holy Spirit partnerships, people who love Jesus coming together and championing one another and running in the direction that he has for them to go. So that's
amazing.
Kind of the long story short, how everything kind of started from the beginning.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear a little bit about how. So like you went from these Facebook groups to now we're launching a full-on dating platform. Like, talk to me how that dream was kind of formulated and where that came from, and how did that start?
Mm-hmm. It's a really good question. I think it just started from being in these groups and hearing people talk more and more about how dissatisfied they were with online dating. And I would see people posting and commenting, and I'm like, man, this really sucks. And I had done online dating for about 3 months. I don't know why I felt the need to put my fingers up, like 3, just in case anyone doesn't know how long 3 months is. If you're listening to this, I just did a 1, 2, 3 with my fingers. So for 3 months, I felt God call me into online dating, and I didn't feel like it was super for me. And I even felt like maybe I won't necessarily meet my person, but I'm going to grow a lot through this experience.
Right.
And so I just went into it really, really open, and I had an incredibly fun time, actually. I really enjoyed it. And so, but the experiences that I was hearing from people was not that. And so I just felt like, God can really redeem this platform, and we can create something that will help and facilitate, so they don't have to worry about, swiping right and superficial culture and people just messaging me for sex, or being like, hey, show us this part of your body, and, or people kind of being, and I think even though I had fun on the dating site I was on, and it was a Christian dating site, I was experiencing all different types of Christians. Like, they would say they were Christians, and then I would start talking to them. I'm like, whoa, this does not align. And there was like ghosting and, just everything that just doesn't represent the kingdom. And so I just feel like there has to be a better way. And so will it be perfect? No, I'm hoping it will be better than what's currently out there for people who truly love Jesus and want to meet other people who do too, and want to cut through all the rubbish and how superficial it is, and, just go deeper and meet people who are really just, hey, I love Jesus and I want to find somebody to do life with, so that we can co-labor with Christ together and really do the work of the kingdom that he's given us and our family to do. Because I feel like God said to me, when I decided to do this whole thing, you've been playing small, it's time to up your game. So the Facebook groups were good, and people were getting together and people getting married, and that's awesome. But, it's happening slower than I would like, because, you send somebody a Facebook message and you're not Facebook friends. Maybe they never see it, or maybe they see it in 6 months. And so I'm like, okay, how can we speed this process up a little bit, where they can learn decent amount about you, enough to know, hey, are we compatible? Like, can I actually reach out to you? And then they can reach out to you, literally right there. And so that was June of 2020. We started this whole process. Wow. At first I wanted to do an app. I thought, hey, an app would be great. I had no idea it cost $100,000 to do a decent app. Between $100,000. And so I went through one developer because I thought, I'll find a better alternative, maybe a cheaper alternative. And then that didn't work out. And then the second developer was in some African country. And again, I'm finding these people in reputable places, but I ended up having potentially losing quite a bit of money. And so having to get them back. Luckily, credit card companies are really good at, and so if you just a credit card company and you kind of get screwed over, they're really good at like clawing back your money.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, so that happened to me more than once, unfortunately. And so I was like, hey, I'm not trusting this company anymore, even though they seem reputable and everyone talks about them. Like, nope. And then having like a developer who we, gave money to, and then they left and went back to their home country, and we never heard from them again. Yeah, it's been quite a ride.
Wow.
Going through people and just, yeah, kind of getting the raw end of the deal a few times, and being trusting and naive and going, hey, like people want to help, and you give them money and they'll actually do what they say. So learned a lot through that process. And that's part of the reason why it took us so long to get anything up off the ground. It was just, how do you find people that you trust, that you can trust, that actually do what they say that they're going to do? Because they'll promise a lot before and then deliver nothing, or very little, or something that's atrocious. And then when you're like, actually, this isn't one person I had to fight for everything that they agreed to beforehand. After I had paid, I had to like literally fight for like, hey, remember you said you could do this. No, it can't be done. Like, but I paid you. You said, so it was just, oh my gosh, so rough. And I'm talking like 6 months with this person, back and forth. So finally the Lord, obviously you were mentoring me, but I was finding developers to actually, implement and design. And so finally, we had done a lot. We just decided, let's do a lot of the work ourselves. Let's get a template. Let's build off that. And so I had to learn how to build a site, how to build a homepage, how to build pages, how to do the back end work.
Yeah, you became a little web developer that, pretty much like, you're just.
I became like a drag and drop web developer a little bit, doing things on my own, which, that was kind of tough. It was like kind of like a baptism by fire, but I just really had this vision, and I felt the Lord say to me, this is what I've called you to do. So, hey, hey, Beck, you're going to co-labor with me while I put together kingdom partnerships, and I'm going to use you to bring them together. So let's create something for that. And so, it's been an absolute wild ride. Like, I didn't have a summer vacation, nothing. I was in coffee shops, just doing stuff, building, and working towards the dream of, okay, there's going to be a place for singles to meet where, they don't have to contend with the pattern of the world. They can literally be completely themselves, know that they're loved, have really good identity. Like, let's have some courses around identity and who we are in Christ. We're not going to dating for identity. We're actually dating from identity. We can get to know people in a more organic way, just, hopefully just a much better way of doing things. And I know we're going to continue to improve. We're going to add additional services, all of that is to come. But as a base starting point, I feel like, it was just really, I felt like we had over 150 people fill out surveys. One survey that we sent out about dating sites. What would you like to see? What do you dislike? What do you like? And we tried to do as much as we could practically within the budget that we had to start off with to meet that need.
Yeah. Which the budget wasn't a lot, right? Like, I mean, we
it was nothing, pretty much.
There's no budget. Not the good no budget, the bad no budget.
It's like, let's scramble and use some savings and pray that God does something and multiplies it and brings in the rest. And he always did.
Right. Yeah.
So,
that's so cool.
Like, okay.
Wow.
One step
what a story. Yeah, well, I mean, like, one of the things that's super impressive about working with you, Beck, is your tenacity and seeing that kind of shine through. Like, I mean, the frustration of literally paying money to people, them promising you the world, having to take it back, and then finding, you're like, okay, well, they did wrong, but, not everyone's like that. And you go to the next person and they're kind of like that too. And then you go to the next person and it's disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, is totally tough to walk through.
I was like, is there any people like that are honest in this industry? Like, do I need to start a business to help like people like me actually find people that don't suck? Like, how does this work? Like, how do people do it? Like, I don't know. Yeah. I literally had that as a business model for a little bit because I was like, this is so tough. Like, how do you... And it's like anything. You just trust that people have the expertise because you don't know enough about it yet.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, you go to the doctor or you go to somebody's going to fix your car and you don't know about fixing cars. they can do it. Yeah, mechanic. Yeah, I knew the word for it. I was just being general.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good.
But you don't know how to do it, so you're just trusting that they do, and if you pay them, that hopefully they did a good job.
Right.
Excuse me, but that's not always the case.
Yeah. So okay, so we started off.
Sorry, just one thing to add. I felt like God was saying, "Will you be faithful with the call?"
Come on.
Like every time something went wrong, He's like, "Hey, are you going to continue to be faithful?" Because I feel like, and people have said this to me. Oh my gosh, if other people went through this, like they would never have continued. And that's why things like this don't exist, because there's a lot of stuff that comes against you, just in the natural and in the spiritual.
Yeah.
Because you're pioneering something new. I don't really know sites. Okay, there's general Christian sites, but ones for like, hey, we're really going after like spirit-filled people, and we want to bring courses, and we want to bring health, and not just dating, but helping them to do well in the process. Like all of the stuff that we're kind of going after, I'm not seeing that. And so I just felt like God just kept kind of saying to me, hey, you're going to continue, like, or are you going to give up? Like, are you going to continue to be faithful with and obedient to the call that I've given you? And I was like, okay. And there were so many tears and like heartache and disappointment and feeling like a failure along the way. And I'm sure there'll be more, but God is so good, and my identity is in Him. And so those things, thankfully, are actually really fleeting. Like I'll have maybe a couple of hours of being like a bit of a pity party if something happens, and then max. Usually it's very quick, but say like the longest time I ever spend really feeling down would be like maybe 3 hours, and I'm good again. Like I'm like, okay, God, you're good. What next? How do we fix this? And we're just back into it. So it's not really
building a business. Super tough, because you have a dream and you have something that you want to build, but like you're not like just chasing after the dream, but you're also building a skill set, right? Like that you had to like of business and learning how to run an entire organization at the same time when you're chasing after what God's called you to. So, but that's been awesome.
Gosh, yeah, and there's so much more to it than people realize. Like you have to figure out tax stuff, and you have to figure out like how you're going to do certain things, and you basically become a jack of all trades, because you have to do like social media, and you have to like build the site, and then you have to like work out how to pay people, and how does this work, and how does this come in, and you're up like creating every image and doing everything that needs to be done, that other sites, that are established or have millions of dollars behind them before they even start, have like hundreds of people doing things. And it's just kind of little old you every day, just kind of working away at, it's kind of...
You and Jesus had a dream.
You and Jesus had a dream. Yeah. And
that's
it's cool.
awesome.
I hope this is encouraging for people who have just them and Jesus in a dream. Because there's usually, no matter what you pick, even if you're doing something kind of new, there's still people doing the same thing as you that are way more ahead of where you are. So it's like not going the comparison game, and that's super hard sometimes, but actually being like, well, I'm just running in my life and doing what God's called me to do, and being faithful to that vision and that call. Yeah.
Well, actually, I wanted to keep trucking along, because we've talked about like how this thing got started. We talked about some of the hardships of like, how hard it is to actually get this thing up and running. But I want to touch on the future a little bit of Agape, because right now we're in a beta phase. And so beta is kind of like this pre-launch phase where it's like, hey, there might be a couple of things that are not super working on the site just yet, and we're kind of getting up and running. And just as a reminder for those of you that are just tuning in right now, we have our beta pricing still up right this second. So if you haven't quite done that, and if you're listening to this later on, sorry, you've missed that boat. But for those of you that can hear us right now, don't forget, check that out in the next couple in the next day, actually. We're closing up shop, but let's talk about the future of Agape. So closing up shop. For that specific deal, I should say. So this is the beta launch, right? This isn't like the full-fledged vision that God has kind of given you. What's the next couple of things that we can kind of hope for and look forward to, and even in partner with like in prayer and stuff about how we can really be a part of this ministry and bless you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So obviously, yes, we're in beta launch. So the short-term goal is, hey, we're going to collect lots of feedback from all of our beta users on
Right.
things that they want, things that maybe aren't working 100% as they would like them to. There might be some features that they're like, hey, we don't actually care about this, or some features that they're like, hey, this doesn't exist, but I would like it to. Thankfully, we are, 3 days into launch. We haven't really had anything go wrong. People can interact and talk and do everything we expected to be able to do. And I just want to preface too, the reason we chose to do a desktop, like a website first before an app, is because of the expense of the app. We actually were like, hey, let's do a website, because then people can start using the interface, and then we can actually upscale and work towards an app. So that's definitely where we're going to. So yeah, short term, we are working on, hey, let's get rid of kinks, let's add, let's take away, let's subtract, let's get this thing really rolling where we have a good amount of users. We're going to continue to funnel people in. We're going to be working with people to actually bring bring in incredible godly people onto the site, and I'm really excited for that, because there's going to be more and more people. The vision is every day there's going to be people added to the site that people can meet and get to know and date. So I'm really excited about that. And then we will just keep scaling. We'll add more courses. We will add more interviews, more events. As we continue to expand, I want to be able to hire people to actually run things like social media, to be able to run our events for us, to outsource some of those things and really empower people who that is their natural giftings as well. So like, hey, this makes them come alive. Let's partner with those people. And then really working towards, let's get this as an app on the App Store, where people can actually use it directly on their phone. Because right now it's mobile compatible, but it's not an app. So that's kind of where we're working towards. And hopefully more and more people, like I've written something on my vision board that says 100,000 marriages, kingdom marriages. And so I really believe that God's wanting to bring together mighty men and women of faith to steward and come together in Holy Spirit partnerships and steward what God's given them to do. And especially in the times that we're living in, I'm like, wow, we need incredible godly families to be raised up. And that starts with incredibly godly people and incredible godly, marriages. And help them to connect. Oh my gosh, how much does that change culture? And if we can help them to divorce-proof their marriage before they ever even get married. So like really, that's for me then like having courses on how to prepare yourself for marriage, even when you're single, things like that. I've seen so much fruit from people who are wholehearted and really have so much health in their lives. And for me personally, it's massively benefited my marriage. And I know, people who married, 50 years have incredible testimonies of just really going after personal healing. So there's so much that I really believe that we can do. I want to have like prophetic nights where we, prophesy over people who are on the site, or they prophesy over one another. And, like kind of like Christian mixes where you can get to know people, but it's not the focus of, hey, meet another single person, but we're all singles. We're prophesying. We're going to be doing ministry. It wouldn't be great to have like evangelism, online evangelism nights where we have people on the site who all love evangelism, and we come and we do Facebook ministry together or something, and you can actually meet based on, doing the work of the kingdom together online. And it doesn't all just have to be, dating. And so I'm like, how can we advance the kingdom, preach the gospel, while still having singles meet in a more organic way? So I don't know what that looks like. I feel like God's just going to continue to give downloads and show us what that looks like. But that's kind of where we're heading.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, we're kind of coming up to the close of this live too. So if any of you guys have any questions in the chat, we'll kind of pull those up and we'll take a look at those in just a few minutes. So go ahead and write in any questions that you have for Beck, and we'll kind of fire them off and go from there. But yeah. And then, Beck, I want to know, I just heard about this, like, there's this, matchmaking aspect to Agape, right? That I just have been hearing about. I want to kind of chat about that. How does that play into the future of Agape and what you're trying to build and do?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we wanted to create a more deluxe boutique version for people who maybe they don't want to be on a dating site, or they want to be on a dating site, but they want somebody to help them through the dating process. A lot of people are just very, some people just don't know how to date, or they're not really sure what they're looking for. And so having a matchmaker come and say, okay, tell me what you're looking for, and let me go and do the work and help you to find that person and connect you, have you go on dates. We just felt like, you know what, there's going to be people, this is going to serve better. So let's create another platform for them that will help them in just a different way.
Totally.
And so we do have the AgapHEY matchmaking website up and running. We do have, we're kind of testing it out on one client to begin with and working with him and matching him with people, and then seeing how that goes, learning more about the systems that we're using and putting in place. And then we're going to open that up to more clients. And so the vision really is, matchmaking is really good because you actually, and especially done by a person, because you're not relying on like AI to do it. It's all based on, okay, I'm talking to this person, I'm investing in them. What kind of person are they looking for? Let's connect them. Let's send them on dates, especially if they're having a hard time getting dates, actually connecting with them with people that they're interested in. And it also saves them time too. Okay, so if people are like busy, they're working a lot or something, they don't have time to go on apps and kind of scroll through and filter and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Hey, we have something for them where we can go and do that work for them. And we can set them up on really good quality dates. But then also there's a coaching element of coaching them through, blocks that they're having, anything that's coming up around dating, and even challenging them in certain areas of growth. I feel like being teachable is one of the most incredible things that you can do to prepare for marriage. And I find a lot of people are coming into the dating realm, and they don't have they're not being super teachable for one, or two, they have a lot of things that are hindering them that they actually don't realize are hindering them. And so sometimes it's just somebody in love just shining a light on that and being like, oh, have you thought about this? Or why is this coming up? And a lot of freedom comes. I coached 2 girls over the summer, and they're still messaging me. Like, we stopped in end of August, and I still get messages, at least like a couple times a month, being like, oh my gosh, the breakthroughs, I'm still carrying this, or I've changed so much as a person because of the work that we did. And so bringing that element into it as well, I think is really important. So that's kind of where we're going. And it's not 100% the focus at the moment. It's really about getting the dating platform up and running, but that's where we're going. And we have all the infrastructure in place now for that. It's just about growing and continuing to do that.
Beautiful. Yeah. I guess my last question, Beck, is, or I guess I have 2 questions actually, but my second to last question is, like, so in 5 years, like, what do you view for Agape? Like, what are the milestones you hope to hit, or what are some of the things that you really hope to see, I guess, in the next 5 years?
I really hope I'm just dreaming with God that Christian dating, like within our circles, Bethel, Iris Ministries, Todd White, like all of those kinds of things. When they think of dating, they think, hey, Agape is a site for Spirit-filled kingdom Christians. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm really hoping for. In 5 years, we will have so many marriages. Like, I don't know if we'll hit the 100,000 mark yet. I would love that. But, at least like, I don't know, 50,000, at least half. Like, I don't know. I feel like that would be incredible. Babies, ministry started from the people that have met. I see, I'm more testimony driven. I can say, I'd love to be doing events, like singles events, and having mixes all around the country. And, that's things that I would love. But really what drives me is when I get messages from people, and, another couple this week got engaged that met in our revivalist group.
Wow.
And another couple, are about to get married. And another couple just got married. And so that really drives me, because I think, I remember what it was like to be single, and I just wanted a place to meet like-minded people. And so in 5 years, I just see a lot of kingdom marriages, and I see Agape being synonymous with, hey, Spirit-filled people, this is where you go to cut through all the kind of rubbish in the dating world and meet real people. Who are serious about their faith, love Jesus, and wanting to meet somebody else who is as well. There's a lot more to it, but that's ultimately my vision, my goal. If that's people are getting together, they're getting married, and they're doing it in a really healthy way, I feel like I will have accomplished my goal, and setting them up for success as best as I possibly can. From what we're doing.
Yeah, I guess my last.
I'm sorry. I don't want to just help people get married, because there are a lot of people who are like out there and they're gurus and they're like, well, we'll help you get married, and you can get married in 6 months. We're going to get you there. But I'm like, I don't know how healthy those marriages are going to be when they don't really even know each other. And I did a whole podcast on this, but I'm like, I really want to focus on the health of the individual and the health of the couple, and really work it. Let's give them some really great resources and tools, so you are so set up for success that your marriage is literally divorce proofed beforehand. And I also would love to have some sort of men's group, because I see at Bethel they have an incredible men's group, and there is so much fruit and hope from that, and freedom. Sure. And I don't see that anywhere else in any other church, any other place that I've ever been in my entire life. And so I would love to see men walk in complete freedom, and women. I would love to have a women's group too, a women's freedom group. And we're working towards that for people who have struggled with porn, masturbation, just want to be working on being vulnerable in front of others and exposing their heart and not letting the enemy keep shame in and keep things hidden. All of that. I just feel like there's such a need for people to live, with nothing hidden, and that actually benefits future marriages as well.
Beautiful. I guess my last question, Beck, is just like, is there anything that you would want people to know or to think about? Any kind of last words that you'd love to really just give out to the people that are on this journey with you?
Yeah, I would just say, please pray. First of all, we've had a lot of spiritual attack over the last 2 days. As soon as we launched, everything just kind of went wrong, it was a little bit rough, not gonna lie. But God is good, and it's not a defeating thing. It's just okay, I'm working on feeling my emotions. So I allowed myself to feel the disappointment of what went wrong.
Right.
And then I was like, cool, I'm going to let God meet me in this place, rather than just be like, no, I'm strong, I don't have to address it. But yeah, if you can pray for Kingdom Singles. Pray that God would just really protect what we're doing, and that his hand will be on it. And also for wisdom for us, wisdom to follow his leading and his guiding. What is he saying? What is he on? What is he not on? Because I feel like, we have to be, as cunning as serpents and innocent as doves. So we want to be super innocent, but we also want to be very discerning and knowing what God's on, and doing it really well, so that there is longevity into what he's called us to do. I think something else to know, it's still very early days. So I love that our community has so much grace for what we're doing. They're just so happy to see that somebody's doing this, that they really do have grace for oh, well, that didn't super go according to plan. Let's fix it for you, because I feel like it's so much easier to criticize and break down and condemn those who are actually trying to do something. But I really feel like in the kingdom, we're actually called to bear each other's burdens, lift one another up. And if you're seeing people who are going after something, even if it's not necessarily the way that you would do it, well, champion them, encourage them, love them. Because I see a lot of people on the sidelines who've never done anything like this, saying stuff. And they don't understand the work it takes. They don't understand the cost. They don't understand, and I think the last thing is, I don't know if I should say it. I have found one last thing to know. I feel like during this process, I've really had to keep my love on towards Christians, because I found that Christians are the only people in the world that I've ever met that expect everything to be free, or pretty much everything to be free. So if you do something, it should be altruistic, and you basically bear all the burden of the cost, and it should be free. It should be free. It should be free. And there's this entitlement that's creeped into our culture. It's not so much. I don't so much see it in Australian culture. I see it a lot in American culture, unfortunately. And it's all pervasive. It's through every different, whether it's counseling or, other thing, books, you name it, people want it for free. And I want to challenge that, because I really want to encourage you. If you have that mentality, or if you, I would never want to date somebody who isn't invested. And so part of the reason why this site is paid for one, we have expenses. Practically, we have to pay people, you know, but also there is no buy-in when something costs you nothing. And so even if you're thinking like, hey, I want stuff to be free for me. I see people paying more for their Netflix account, you know, and, you know, I've had people say to me, like, I don't want to pay to meet someone. And that's totally fine. If that's where they're at, that's, you know, that's fine. But if they really want to meet someone and they're saying they don't have the money for it, I'm seeing people, you know, I'm like, wow, you go out to dinner and you spend like $50 on dinner, or you spend $30 on dinner, or $20 on a movie ticket and a popcorn, you know. It's like we really do put money behind what we value. And so what I'm really excited about is if people are on this site, they value kingdom dating and they value meeting someone enough personal resources behind it, so that not only are you invested, but you know the other person is invested as well. They're invested enough to meet you. And also it allows us to do kingdom stuff. I can't wait for the platform to actually have a profit where we can pour into the things of the kingdom, where we can support missions, where we can go, hey, this anti-human trafficking organization needs an influx of cash right now because they need to go and save some girls out of these brothels or whatever, or children. Like, let's actually give them that infusion of cash. I really feel like people in the kingdom, oh my gosh, imagine if kingdom people had funds, like, and weren't afraid of actually having finances, what they could do with the world. You know, if bad people weren't the ones with all the money, and then poor people and Christian people can't do anything about it. So I think also one thing people don't realize is that when something is free, you are the product. Facebook sells your data. They sell your, you know, they literally, and they allow advertisements to come in. And so you are the product. And we just never want to do that. And so I think, I don't know, that's not like my little soapbox rant, because I think time and time again, people come and if, you know, say they're a nurse and I'm like, cool, you know, everything good should be free. Well, why don't you come and help somebody and nurse for free, because you have to earn a living too, or take photographs or whatever it is, you know. It's just, I don't get it. I really, really have a problem with it, because it's this entitlement. I should get everything that I want, and it shouldn't cost me anything. And so it makes me excited, because I really do believe that this will cost people something, but it will be an investment that they make. And when you're talking to somebody, you're going to know, hey, they're serious. They're not mucking around. They're also not a scammer or a hacker or somebody who's just coming to like try and steal your money and be like, hey, we've talked for 3 days. I'm in another country and I just got locked out of my credit cards, but I promise I'm actually really rich. Can you send some money? Oh my goodness. Or, you know, it's just ridiculous. So anyway, that's the end of my rant.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Beck, I mean, I think this has been an awesome chance for people to kind of hear your heart, the vision behind Agape, what it is that we're planning on doing and rolling out. And I'm really excited to kind of help the people hear, you know, what the next phases are, what the dream is, how even this could impact culture and families. And we're really excited about that dream of 100,000 marriages, or 500,000 marriages.
Yeah. 100,000, but let's make it 500,000. Why not?
Oh, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's prophetic. Well, yes, Lord. Yes. No, that's awesome. So cool. So yeah, that's kind of it for me, Beck. I'm going to kind of pass it over back to you, and you can kind of close us out.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast for today, and I'm really excited for this. Again, our Black Friday sale literally ends tomorrow, 29th, Monday the 29th of November at midnight PST time. So if you want to jump in before everything that's coming and lock in that $99 one-time price, make sure you do it today or tomorrow, because then it's going to be gone. But yeah, on that note, guys, have an incredible day. We love you. We're doing this for you, and we hope that you are completely blessed by it. Bye.